From the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, flying through the internet to your device like a UAP, hauntingly unexplained and downright weird, this is the witching hours, and we are ready to take off in the flash of an eye. Good evening to one and all, wherever and whenever you are listening to our program. I am one of your hosts tonight, Johnny the Frost, and joining me as always is Medium Jenny Lee. How are you doing, Medium Jenny Lee?
It's Mod Appreciation Day.
It is Mod Appreciation Day today.
Happy Mods Kick-Ass Day to all of our kick-ass mods. Happy Mods Day all day.
Happy day.
I don't have any gifts or anything for you, but I feel bad. But I'm just gonna give you lots of love because you guys are awesome.
Yes, we have all the wonderful mods.
Yeah.
Who make every stream so much easier.
Yeah.
So thank you. Specifically for this, always hoaxers mods. Keisha, of course, is like the queen mod.
I was gonna say that.
Who has basically, like, for your stream, I can be lazy now.
Yeah.
Loose.
I don't know what I would do without her sharing all my class. She's probably the reason why I've got most of those tickets for those classes, because she's always sharing it.
Yeah. I know. Alyson probably wants to send some love out to hoaxers as well.
Yeah. Everybody gives hoaxers crap, but really, he's awesome.
So thank you to all the wonderful mods out there on this Mod Appreciation Day. How's everybody doing? We're one day away, as always, from Friday. And for us, that's 1 week away from a break. It's spring break. 9 days off in a row. So maybe some extra streams.
Hoping so.
So get ready for that. All right, well, are we ready for the jump into the news?
Yeah.
Okay. Was Stonehenge an ancient calendar? A new study says no. So, was Stonehenge an ancient calendar? As a 2022 study claimed, not at all, says a new study by two scientists who specialize in ancient astronomy. Stonehenge wasn't a prehistorical solar calendar, but served mainly as a memorial to the dead, according to the new research by scientists who studied ancient astronomy. The first stones of Stonehenge were in place in southern England about 5,000 years ago, and the monument was constructed in stages over roughly 1,000 years. But researchers have debated its purpose for centuries. The new study, published March 23rd in the journal Antiquity, disputes claims made last year that it functioned as a solar calendar with 356.25 days, almost exactly the measurement used for the solar calendar today. According to that study's author, Timothy Darvill, a professor of archaeology and Stonehenge expert at Bournemouth University in the UK, Darvill's interpretation has been rejected by two scientists, mathematician Giulio Magli of the Polytechnic of Milan and astronomer Juan Antonio Belmonte of the Institute of Astrophysics of the Canary Islands, who say Stonehenge wasn't accurate enough to serve as a solar calendar. Darvill told Live Science in an email that he still stands by the interpretation, but Magli and Belmonte say in their latest study that the last year's finding is based on a series of forced interpretations, numerology, and unsupported analogies with other cultures. From a symbolic point of view, Stonehenge is, of course, related to a celestial phenomena, noting its celebrated alignments with midwinter and midsummer solstices, but this is far from saying it was used as a giant calendar.
If it was built over 1,000 years, who's to say that the people over that 1,000-year period didn't use it for different things?
Well, I think that's very possible, but I think they're saying that none of the alignments didn't match up with any of the ancient skies.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. That's fair.
But, I mean, that doesn't
Maybe they just really sucked at doing it.
Yeah, it's possible. But it's also possible that it was just meant
Their
to
math
align
is
with...
off.
I mean, it still says that, we still know that it lines up with midsummer and midwinter. So that was significant. I mean, to them, I don't know. There was a reason to know that it was Thursday or Sunday or
just know
October 1st. You just need to mark your seasons. Yeah. You just need to know it's going to get cold or, the winter's getting shorter now or the summer's whatever. So, but who knows if we'll ever, truly know exactly, what that was supposed to be. But anyway, that's the newest research on that. The second story tonight is 2 high schoolers say they found proof for the Pythagorean theorem, which mathematicians thought was impossible. So,
I think I saw something about that.
Yeah, 2 high school seniors from New Orleans think they have achieved a feat of mathematics, which has stumped experts for 2,000 years. Their work of
I would like to say that weren't they both African American girls?
I have no clue.
They are. I saw.
There's no picture, but their work got Calcia Johnson and Kia Jackson far enough to present their findings. Researchers, per an interview with local TV earlier this week, it concerned the Pythagorean theorem, a staple of high school math lessons, which defines the relationship between the 3 sides
Pythagorean?
of the Pythagorean.
Okay.
Pythagorean theorem.
You sound like me trying to pronounce stuff today.
I've taken classes on ancient Greece at a graduate level and still have trouble pronouncing
math teacher. He is
Greek names. Yeah. Anyway, a staple of high school math lessons, which defines relationship between 3 sides of a right angled triangle. The a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Johnson and Jackson claim to have broken new ground by proving the theorem using trigonometry. This is difficult because much of trigonometry itself is underpinned by the theorem. So anyway, they've come up with their counter there. They were able to prove the theorem using the laws of sines, another principle of trig, which does not rely on the theorem. And when the American Mathematical Society met last week, Johnson and Jackson were the only high schoolers at the meeting. Their claim has not gone through the rigorous academic peer review process or been confirmed by other experts in the field. So we're going to have to wait to find out if it gets brought in. But I guess it would go then from being a theory to a law, right? If they actually were to do that, which would be crazy if there were 2 high schoolers from Louisiana. Yeah. So good job, young ladies. Like, I know, imagine if you did that when you were like 17 or 18. Like, where do you go from there?
Yeah. Rocket science, here they come.
And my favorite news story of the week is a giant meatball of extinct mammoth unveiled in the Netherlands.
What the hell?
About this.
What?
A meatball made of lab-grown mammoth meat was unveiled at a science museum in the Netherlands on Tuesday.
Are we really using our science just to make meatballs?
Tastes like chicken.
Yeah, I can tell you something about the company because I looked into this quite heavily throughout the week.
Lord, people.
Val, the startup that made the meatball, created it using genetic information from the long extinct mammoth. Company researchers said in Tuesday's media event, some holes in the genetic sequence were filled using the closest relative, which is the African elephant. The process for making cultured meat usually starts with cells taken from a living animal. Those cells are immersed in nutrients and grown into meat in a lab. In this case, the mammoth genes were inserted into a sheep cell. The mammoth gene was then overexposed so it would be more prevalent in the final product in the sheep. Cultured meat has been in development for years. The world's first lab-grown burger was eaten in 2013. The first cell-based chicken nuggets were approved in Singapore in December 2020. I could keep going here, but basically the main idea for these startups at these companies is they grow meat in labs. That way it's basically like a environmental thing. So instead of actually having to farm the animals and kill them, you can just grow a hamburger patty, or you can just grow a steak, or you can just grow a chicken nugget using the cells of the animal.
Yeah, it's, I look at it as this is really weird, and maybe, science is ahead of us a little bit right now, because I kind of feel like that's playing with God.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I can see where it could be beneficial for something like famine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
what about colonization in space? Like if you're on Mars and you can have people grow protein
Yeah.
to eat.
I mean, it could actually propel us forward,
I was just
Yeah.
completely
It's just
I was just completely flabbergasted when you said mammoth meatball.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, humans haven't eaten mammoth in over 10,000 years. So if someone's eaten it yet, they're doing tests on it. They're
Okay.
using it as a thing. But when someone does, they'll be the first human to eat mammoth meat since the Ice Age.
Wow.
It would be wild.
I did take an unofficial poll today from students that I teach, and I had 4 that volunteered to be the first to taste the meatball. Everybody else had the same response, I think, that me and you had. So,
What were you going to say, Alyson?
Oh, I was just wondering if that is what they're also trying to recreate the woolly mammoth.
Yeah.
Also, right. So I'm wondering if which came first, or if they are.
The meatball or the mammoth?
Yeah.
yeah.
The new age old question.
My initial reaction was that I would almost rather them just clone the woolly mammoth than just make a meatball out of it.
Yeah.
But I do kind of like.
If you think about how large they are, too,
Mhm.
I mean, I live in New York, and very close to where I live, they actually dug one up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the New York State Museum, the skeleton and everything. They filled in the bones that aren't there and everything. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to even kill one
Yeah.
would take tremendous energy.
Yeah.
I do kind of like the idea that the meat is not, you're not having to kill something to get the meat. That's
Right.
kind of cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just bizarro.
But what would the long term of how long would you have to study the ingestion of that meat to make sure that there wasn't some kind of long term? I don't know.
I don't know. We eat stuff that's wrapped in plastic right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it safe
Plastic's
to eat?
carcinogenic?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it might get to a point to where, right? Most people, when they eat something, they don't necessarily think about the slaughtering of the animal when they think about it. So maybe you won't think about it being grown in a lab.
Yes.
Maybe. Or maybe we wouldn't even know.
That's true.
Russian roulette with your chicken McNuggets.
Yeah.
Is this one lab grown or was it slaughtered?
That'll be the next
Who
TikTok
knows?
video. We're going to try the lab grown chicken nugget versus the real chicken nugget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting there. I mean, things are getting crazier. That's what I was talking about earlier this week. I said, every time I open up the news, I don't even know what I'm going to find because it's just, it gets crazier and crazier.
I know. You can't even make it up.
No, there's no way I could have made up a mammoth meatball.
No.
They didn't believe me. There's a picture of it too. I can post a picture of it in Discord if you want to see
Holy
it.
moly.
It's funny that you say that. It's like I'm psychic, because I was just going to ask you if you saw the picture of it. It doesn't look appetizing.
No, it doesn't.
I can't imagine.
Well, I have to be honest. I'm not a fan of meatballs anyway. So, the fact that it was it looks like it would be a mammoth meatball. So,
Rossi's going to hold up for the mammoth steak.
yeah. Maybe. Well, not to mention, I've never been tempted to eat elephant. So I don't know if mammoth sounds particularly appetizing to me.
No.
Maybe if it was a giant ancient chicken, maybe I would be interested in that.
I imagine it might taste like buffalo or bison.
Very possible, yeah.
Yeah, but what was the bulls that went extinct in Europe? The aurochs?
Aurochs, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I would try that. Like an auroch. They've talked about bringing those back too. So, anyway.
Was that all the news for today for us, Jay?
That was the news.
Yay.
So now we have Alyson
now-
Wonderland
Or something completely different.
to talk about the moon phases for the month of April. How are you doing,
It's like
Alyson?
the news.
It is, but different.
is.
It's not
Yeah.
it's not meatballs.
It's space news. Well, I have to point out that today is a waxing gibbous Leo moon, or we actually just moved into Leo. So Leo party up in the house. So a waxing gibbous moon again is almost full. It's more than half, but it's not full. And this within the next or the first couple days of April, Mercury is going to move from Aries to Taurus. And I really think that this is going to set the tone for like the whole month and the whole eclipses and all the rest of the planetary things, because we're moving into Taurus season, and there's just going to be a lot of Taurus energy and Venus energy this month, because our full moon next week on the 6th is in Libra. So Libra and Taurus are the two signs that are ruled by Venus. So even last month, there was this kind of nudge to be thinking with our hearts first, like on a collective level. And I think like we've all been kind of feeling that, like, I don't know, leading with your heart. And Pisces season taught us to follow our dreams. And I think that, like, the Libra full moon is going to be like the good part of April, because it just has this like good feeling. Libra's the scales, so things are balancing out, and it's a full moon, so we're illuminating balance. And some of the other planets have positive aspects to the full moon. For example, Jupiter is going to give this like friendly feeling, lighthearted, and even kind of like a social aspect to the full moon. Whereas last month we had a Virgo full moon, and the Virgo full moon even kind of felt like a new moon, because it was like, pay attention to yourself, focus on yourself, get your shit together. Even though a full moon normally is like a celebratory time, I think this Libra full moon is going to be more of that energy. And it's like fun. Yeah, like fun, lighthearted. Like we need some lightheartedness, especially for what's coming up the rest of April. So after the full moon was on April 6th, the next week, April 11th, Venus is moving from Taurus to Gemini. And I think the Venus Taurus energy is what kind of brought a lot of that heart-centeredness. Taurus is happy in Venus, it's ruled by Venus. And now we're moving into Gemini, which is about communication. And then on the 13th, we have a last quarter moon, and this a last quarter moon in Capricorn. And because this is happening right before Mercury retrograde, I think this kind of reflects back on the last Mercury retrograde in January. Like we started the year with the Mercury retrograde. And I think this is kind of telling us to like fully commit to those things, those plans and those goals that you made in January and hopefully started at the beginning of Aries season, and commit to them. Aries wants to start things, Capricorn wants to finish it. So I think the last quarter is going to give us this opportunity to really commit and to decide like whether or not you're going to like follow through with things. And then we have the new moon, Mercury retrograde, solar eclipse, all happening within a day of each other. And
cats and dogs living together.
So technically this is our second Aries new moon.
Which is really unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
It happens every now and then. I would say no more than once a year. maybe every other year. But this happens around midnight. So the moon is new at 12:12. The eclipse happens at 12:17. And then 12:30, we move into Taurus. So we're only in this Aries eclipse energy for like 15 minutes. That's why I feel like everything is just kind of leading up to it. And then it's like, now we're in this Mercury retrograde, like put on your seatbelt. Here we go. We're going downhill. But this is also moving us into Taurus season the next day. And Taurus season is Earth. It grounds us. It's going to give us something steady to hold on to.
Yeah.
Something sturdy to hold on to. And again, that Venus heart-centered energy. So the interesting thing about the Aries, having two Aries new moons, is now next month, our new moon is going to be in Taurus at the end of the Taurus season. Whereas all year we've had a Capricorn new moon at the beginning of Capricorn season. You get to work with that energy for a whole month, and then you move into the next sign and you get to work with that. Like there was this really nice flow to it. And now it's like we're ending it with a new moon, which just kind of feels weird.
Yeah.
You want to be starting things, with a new moon. And so now for the rest of the year, all of the moons are shifted one, like they're now at the end of the season, but they're also paired with a different full moon. So normally we have an Aries moon Aries new moon with a Virgo full moon, and they just kind of balance each other out. This month we're having an Aries new moon with a Scorpio full moon, and Scorpio is usually paired with Taurus. So they're still opposite energies, but they don't balance each other out as much. So the rest of the year is going to have this kind of, oh, this is new. And I think that all has to deal with the age of Aquarius. Like, we're trying things in a different way. Like, we're used to them being like, this is the way it is all the time. But now it's like, no, let's try something different. Let's see how these energies work together. So the rest of the year, this moon is setting the tone for like the rest of the year. And
it sounds like it could be a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know if you like something until you try it.
Yeah.
So
we need to try some new things.
I'm specifically interested in, I guess, the Libra we were talking about, like finding some balance. Because I feel like I haven't had balance yet in this whole new year.
Yeah.
Like it's been like this sleepy kind of process. And I've gotten re-energized lately. But it's been, for me, I don't know if this follows anything, but everything's kind of felt a little chaotically. Like everything's just kind of sput. And, like, it's like you're starting up a car that hasn't been running a while or something. Like, it's just kind of like moments of inspiration, and then everything kind of slows back down again, and then like something crazy happens, and then it's just been it's been weird energy lately.
Maybe that's why we needed that second Aries moon. It was like the first Aries moon is to start the engine, let it warm up a little bit, and then we can get moving.
We can go
on a somewhat bumpy terrain, though, with Mercury retrograde, because that's just going to cause, that's when we have the technology problems, communication problems. But this time Mercury is in Taurus, and that is going to have more heart-centered energy to it. Last time it was in Capricorn. So it's almost like the thing that you learned survived in January. That was like the foundation. And now we're like taking it up to the heart with Taurus. So communicating with your heart, caring about what the other person is thinking and feeling before saying something, and kind of taking that little pause before you go telling somebody something, or something, letting something leave your mouth without thinking about it first, thinking about it from the heart and not like the head.
I think
guess.
Hoaxsters wrapped it up nicely. Maybe a couple of backfires, but we'll get going at some point.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Alyson. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
letting us know about
Yeah,
all the nice, then crazy stuff that we can expect in
Yeah.
April.
Excellent.
we'll be okay. We just got to buckle up and think with
Yeah.
our hearts, stay with
Mhm.
community. We're going to be okay.
It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Yeah.
So make sure you're following Alyson Wonderland at Priestess of Wonderland.
Resources Wonderland.
Make sure you get on there and give a follow. And do you want to give us a website or anything for people to check out for you that are listening?
Priestessofwonderland.com, and also on YouTube I upload weekly moon videos, so it's broken down to just that week so that it's not like a whole month of April, like confusing. You can be like, okay, what's happening right now this week? And so that those are uploaded every Sunday.
There's her link
Excellent.
tree. I just put it in there.
There we go.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
and thank you for having me, guys. I'm so excited
Yeah.
for this long-awaited Vicki episode.
Yeah.
Yay!
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, take care and enjoy your Thursday evening.
Yeah.
All right, you
Bye,
too. Have a good
Alyson.
night,
See
you
you
guys.
later. Yes.
Returning guest now, friend of the program, Vicki Loubier, are of Divinely Aligned as an intuitive evidential medium and an integrated energy therapy master instructor. Vicki offers mediumship readings, integrated energy therapy alignments, and tarot and oracle card reading services. Vicki is naturally curious, so that's great for this program, of course, and a lifetime learner. As a natural medium, she has been seeing auras and receiving messages in dreams since childhood. As an adult, her angels and spirit guides caught up to her so that she couldn't ignore her gifts and had to develop them to help others. She has studied mediumship with Cindy Keza and Lisa Williams. Vicki is a certified integrated energy therapy master instructor. She teaches classes and leads groups in manifestation and vision, boarding, tarot and oracle cards, integrated energy therapy, and working with the angels. So, welcome.
Oops. I
Vicki.
think we got switched around still.
Okay.
Thank you
We'll
for
get it back.
having me.
Yeah,
Yay.
welcome
We're
to the
excited to have you
program.
back.
Thanks.
You do a lot of stuff, girl.
I've been working, My spirit guide's fast tracked. I lost you guys again. My little thingy that sticks isn't really that sticky right
It's
now.
not sticking.
Yeah, so it fell. So in case I have another catastrophe, just forewarning you. Okay, so yeah, I've been working really hard. But I've been having fun doing it.
Awesome. Yes. This is fun work.
It is fun work. It's work from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it, right? So
Absolutely.
so let me just get my sticky thing on here really quick
Sure.
and reset my phone. Sorry about that, guys.
I think Frosty's having to fix something on our end too, so we're all good.
Perfect. So I went on a trip, and the trip was to a place in Western New York called Lilydale. I don't know if you've heard of it.
So before we get there, will you tell us what spiritualism is?
Oh yeah, let's get there first. That's a good way to start. Sometimes I need someone to focus me.
I got you.
You know how
Vicki,
I'm being a medium. You're up. Hang on, let me get my. Okay. Okay. So spiritualism is a religion. I enjoy it because there's no dogma in this religion. And I actually became a spiritualist while I was at Lilydale. Spiritualism started in the 1800s with groups of people who would get together and they would do spirit communication. Okay. So, okay.
Good. You're still here.
Okay, good. Do you guys still have me?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. Okay, so these people got together in the 1800s and they were like, we can communicate with spirits. And it started with these sisters that lived in Hydesville, New York. And actually, it's perfect that we're doing this today because tomorrow is like the anniversary of spiritualism.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So it started in Hydesville, New York. There were these sisters and they were called the Fox Sisters. And the story is that they were hearing rapping coming from their basement. And when they went into their basement, they found a peddler, like, back in the day they had peddlers.
Mm-hmm.
They found a peddler buried under their house.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So they started communicating with him using a system of like tapping on the walls. Like, if you're here, tap, 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 knock, 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 right? So there were three sisters. Their story is a bit unfortunate. At one point, they said that it was all fake and that they were staging it all. And I'm not sure why, but at one point, one of the sisters was exploiting the other two sisters and they basically drank all their money away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an unfortunate story. But that's what kind of started the spiritualist movement. So do you want me to talk about what spiritualists believe?
Yeah, like what do they believe now? Like how did it, where did it evolve to present day?
Yeah, so to present day, the principles of spiritualism are that we believe in God. We believe that God is all there is. We affirm the divine right of individuals to seek the truth within their own hearts. I really like this one. Number 4, life is eternal. 5, spiritual progression is eternal and infinite. And 6, we believe that communication between all planes of existence is a reality. So anything that exists, you can communicate with. The ultimate expression of loving God is to love thy neighbor as thyself. We believe in personal responsibility and that individuals create their own reality according to natural law. We affirm that innate gifts of mediumship and healing are expressions of God's love.
Really nice stuff in there.
So I have a question real quick, just to kind of lay the groundwork for this. So specifically, when we talk about God, are we talking about the Judeo-Christian God? Or are we talking about whatever like people consider source, what people consider the universe? Are we using that as an all-encompassing term, or is it more narrow than that?
There's no Duch. Sorry, guys. This is
That's
like
okay.
Maybe I'll just hold it like this. Is that better?
Sure, if you
That's
want
fine.
to.
So there's no dogma in spiritualism. So God can be source. God can be the sky. It could be anything.
It's kind of like, because that one of them was talking about the individualism. So I guess it's God is whatever the individual believes it is, right? Is that what they're thinking?
Great.
Absolutely, because there's no dogma and individuals are supposed to be able to express their own truth that's in their heart.
Awesome.
So it's really I feel like it's about God being in your heart.
Excellent. I just wanted to clarify because sometimes it just needs clarification. And I had a feeling that's what it was, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
So how did you hear about spiritualism?
So I heard about spiritualism because I was taking classes a few years ago, and my shaman teacher was a spiritualist. And she said that we didn't get a chance to do this because my class kind of went by the wayside. But but my shaman teacher told us about spiritualism. And a few years ago, when I kind of was coming out as a medium, I had heard of Lily Dale. And so that's really how I heard about spiritualism. And also one of my best friends is a spiritualist as well. he's an artist and he channels his paintings through, spirit. So,
Cool.
yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So okay. So you're interested in it through your friend, through your class, and then you go to Lilydale. So where is it? What is it?
So Lilydale is a very small village in Western New York. It's on the very tip of Western New York. You're almost in Pennsylvania. And so what is Lilydale? It's right on the lake. It's on Cassadaga Lake. It is a spiritualist retreat, I guess. And the people that live there year round, you have to be a spiritualist, registered spiritualist to live there. There are guest houses that you can stay in, and there are hotels, and all of the most of the houses and hotels were built in the 1800s. So when I was there, I stayed in what they call the Angel House.
Of course you did.
Oh yeah, I know.
Because you're the angel person.
I know, right? Well, exactly. I was looking at, accommodations, and I'm looking at the guest houses, and I'm like, Angel House.
Oh, that's for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was great. I mean, it was haunted in there too, but I'll get to that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But, so all of the houses there are very old. Most of the people there are very old.
They're also from the 1800s. No,
yeah, they're not far out from the 1800s.
That just means they're really wise, right?
That's what one would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what one would think.
So Lilydale used to be a place for free thinkers when it first started. And then when it first started, it was called the City of Light. Cool. And they changed the name to Lilydale a few years later because of the lily pads on the lake.
Okay. Is it close to where the Fox sisters lived?
No.
No, it isn't?
No. The
weird.
Fox sisters lived in Rochester. Hydesville is close to Rochester.
Okay.
And Buffalo is another 2 hours west.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's almost maybe about 2.5 hours from Hydesville.
Not even close.
Yeah, not that close. New York is big, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Huge. Okay, so what else do I want to say about Lilydale? So free thinkers used to go there. So that's how it started. A lot of the women's suffragists spent time there. Elizabeth Cady Stanton stayed in the house that I stayed in.
Who is that?
She was Susan B. Anthony's speechwriter.
Ooh, fancy.
She's one of the top women suffragists I have to teach about.
Cool.
I knew her from that.
Yep.
So how long did you stay at Lilydale?
I stayed for, I was there for 5 days. But I was really kind of there for 4 days because I got there Wednesday night and left early Monday morning.
Okay.
But while I was there, so when you go there, it's not just houses. So there's an assembly hall where they have church. The Church of the Living Spirit meets there. They have their own fire department.
Oh, okay.
Yep. They have a little post office. It's maybe a square mile and a half.
Wow.
They have a couple of hotels, I think 2 hotels. One of them is very haunted. It's called the Maplewood. And what else do they have? Some of the highlights of Lilydale is Inspiration Stump is huge, and I can talk a little bit more about that later. There's a pet cemetery. That's the one place I didn't go.
Oh, you didn't get to see the pet cemetery?
I didn't get to see it.
I have to go back someday.
Oh yeah. Well, when I was leaving, I got in the car. I'm exiting the gate. I heard in my ear, "You'll be back. See you soon." I'm like, of course I'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw they have a museum there when I was looking. I was kind of looking it up. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. I didn't get to go to the museum because my class, it's open from 10 weeks a year from the end of June until Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
And my class started 2 days after Labor Day, which was actually kind of nice because all of the people that usually go there aren't there, in the summer. So it's not as many people. But they have registered mediums there that live in their they own houses there. And they have beautiful gardens, these people. And they have these little signs outside and they say like so-and-so registered mediums. So during the summer, people can go to these different houses and book readings with the different mediums.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Keisha was saying
else?
Lisa Williams lives there. Is that Lisa Williams live there?
Yeah, she does live there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, well, she doesn't always live there. She has a house there.
Mm-hmm.
What else was I going to say about it? Oh, we were talking about the suffragists. Susan B. Anthony obviously spent time there too. But okay, so sorry, this is medium life and you know it.
Well, I'm curious, because we brought up the women's suffragists again, was there a direct connection between those leading women suffragists and the spiritualist movement? Like, was that something that was interconnected?
100%.
Okay.
So back in the 1800s, women weren't allowed to speak in public unless they were spiritualists. So people like Susan B. Anthony would go to Inspiration Stump and deliver their speeches at Inspiration Stump.
So now tell us, what is Inspiration Stump?
Okay. Inspiration Stump is in the woods because, you're in the woods there. It's in the woods. And when you go there, it is said that the veil between the living and the spirit world is thinner at the stump and near the stump. So the story is that it got struck by lightning and the tree broke. So obviously now it's just a stump, but the mediums used to go and stand on the stump and deliver messages. And it's supposed to be easier to communicate there. There's definitely very powerful energy near the stump. When I went there, I was sick. And every time I had like RSV, and every time I went near the stump, I could breathe better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what they do with the stump now is they've reinforced it with concrete because it was falling apart. And concrete conducts energy as well. So when you go, you walk maybe about, a quarter of a mile back into the woods on this trail. And if you go left, you can go to the pet cemetery. By the way, Stephen King went to Lilydale, and that's where he got the idea.
His inspiration.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. And then, you can go straight, and that takes you to the stump. And when you get to the sanctuary area, the forest opens up and they have this area with benches like pews. And then the stump is in the front where the mediums give messages. And during the summer, people can go as visiting mediums or they can go as student mediums if they're not registered Lilydale mediums. And they can give messages at the stump.
How big is it?
The stump itself?
Yeah.
I would say it's probably about 2.5 feet in diameter and maybe about 3 feet tall.
Decent sized stump. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also reinforced with concrete.
Yeah.
So it might be bigger than it used to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Because they would have gotten smaller over time anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are stairs on the side of it for when you're not supposed to stand on it, but we all did. I have this what we were taking pictures of ourselves on it. I have this one picture and it looks like there's a spirit in the sky looking down on me.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's really wild. And it looks like there's lights coming out of me and we're in the middle of a dark woods.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah. So I was talking about the stump. So at the stump, the energy is, I mean, I took a lot of videos there. Every video I took, there was this green haze over it. This green, yeah. And I took a video one night. I was like, oh my gosh, I just caught a couple of orbs, and one is kind of orange and the other is kind of green, just hanging out over the stump.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And just in case anyone wants to look at it, I just posted a picture of Operation Stump in Discord.
Oh, cool.
So that way they can.
Cool.
Thank you, Frosty.
I mean, it kind of just looks like a tree stump, but
Yeah.
It has like the stairs going
But
up
it's
to
a
it.
magical
It's pretty cool.
tree stump.
it's a special stump.
It does kind of have. It does. I mean, it does look really cool, and you can tell like there's an area to gather around it.
Yep. So in the summer, they have stump service every day. And people go to receive messages from their loved ones from the mediums that are delivering service that day.
Stump service. That's like the greatest phrase maybe ever.
I know. I love it.
It's even better than mammoth meatball, I think.
I like it better.
Yeah.
Than people. Seems a little more natural.
Yeah. So what did you do there? You said you took a class?
Yeah, I took a class, a 4-day class with Lisa Williams. It was called
So that's where you met Lisa Williams. Cool.
Yeah. And she is just lovely. I just have to say, she really opened me up.
Awesome.
In ways that I hadn't been before.
Mm-hmm. So what was the class called? I interrupted you.
It's okay. It was called Mediumship Mastermind.
Oh, cool.
Which is maybe as cool as stump service.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a great class. It was every day in the assembly hall. They have an assembly hall that they use as a church. They have a healing temple where you could go and receive spiritualist healings. I think it's kind of like Reiki, but I'm not really sure.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? They have a little gazebo. They have a ferry trail next to the fire department. And they have a little gazebo where they do healing on pets.
Cool.
Yep. They have a ferry trail, which is really cool. You basically walk in the woods and, you know, there's fairies and owls and angels all over. And
that's neat.
Totally up my alley.
Yeah.
Totally magical. And it's just being there, just being in the energy. You can feel so much energy there that it's hard to stay grounded.
Yeah, I imagine so. Be floating around with the fairies and the angels.
Oh, totally. The whole time I didn't sleep.
So we had a question from Bree. She wanted to know your advice on how you can be more open to mediumship.
How can you be more open to mediumship? Actually, that's a great question because I learned that there.
Oh, good. See, she was already picking up on things.
Exactly. So I feel like it's accepting that spirit is real, that spirits are people too, and accepting that this is okay to do. Because I think for myself specifically, I was carrying a lot of guilt that I released there. A lot of guilt and shame because I was brought up Catholic. So I used to think it was a curse. So I think that being open to it is just accepting whatever is there in the present and if you feel comfortable with it, making friends with spirit.
I can see now why it was so important that you went there, because if you were carrying all of that guilt and shame from your Catholic days, going there and being able to see and read and experience and hear that, like, this is all part of what God is, I'm sure was so freeing for you.
Oh my gosh. Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
You know, I have goosebumps everywhere you saying that. So,
I know. I'm like, sorry. I'm trying not to cry because I can feel all of it.
yeah. But yes, being there was extremely liberating for me. And, you know, I work at a college as a secretary in the psychology department. I used to hide it from the professors I worked with. And I don't mind now. I just tell them. And I tell my grad students, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it did open me up. I'm like, yeah, I'm a medium, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not,
love it or leave it, whatever.
Yeah. It's not supernatural. It's actually very natural.
Oh, so Bree was also Catholic at some point. And she said, so are you open to different religions?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because really, isn't it all just bits and pieces of the same thing?
I was just going to say, most religions preach love and peace and, you know, just being your best self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are all the wonderful parts that we should be taking and learning from, and get rid of all the rest of the horse shit that we've managed to pile up on top of it after all these years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So previously you had mentioned that you had some, other than the crazy stuff at the stump, you had some other strange experiences while you were there. Tell us some.
All right. So if you listen to the podcast that I did with you before, I was talking about signs from your angels and your loved ones. Okay. So my grandmother was born my grandmother was psychic. And same thing, she had to hide it because she was Polish and Catholic and, you know, very Catholic. So she had to hide it. And she was actually born about 10 miles from where Lilydale is.
Oh, wow.
So I felt, so like the whole story of me going is just an intuitive journey in itself. My friend
Very
that
circular.
I told you about. Yeah, like full circle. So my friend that I actually, 2 years ago before the pandemic, now it's 3 years ago, right before the pandemic, I told a friend of mine that I wanted to go to Lilydale and I wanted to study with Lisa Williams. Manifested.
Yeah.
So, my friend that I was talking about previously, the artist, just sent one day in August, just sent me a link. And, you know, at the time I was feeling like my mediumship was getting stale. I was like, I wasn't having fun with it at times. And I just kind of needed like just that up level. You know what I mean? So he sent me the link and the only thing he wrote was go.
Perfect.
And I'm like, Lisa Williams, Lilydale. And then I'm thinking, how am I going to afford this? I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to figure it out. I'm going to let spirit figure it out.
Yeah.
So I clicked the link, I booked my trip, and it was like not even 3 weeks in between the time I booked the trip and when I went. So when I got there, like I said, my grandmother was born there and her whole family was from that area. When I got there, the first thing I did, because from my home, it's almost a 6-hour drive.
Wow.
If you include bathroom breaks and like, so I basically drove across New York State.
Yeah. then you got to see how big it really is.
Oh my gosh. Well, I knew. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been to Buffalo before, and I've been to
yeah.
Dunkirk, which is where my grandmother was from. And I've been to Niagara Falls, but that segues into this story. So the first thing I did was I stopped at the Angel House and took my suitcases out. I met this lovely lady from another state, and we're still friends. And she helped me get my things out. And then I had to just take a walk because I had been in the car so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started walking in a general direction, trying to find my way around and just kind of feel it out. So of course, I walked right to the lake, to Cassadaga Lake. So I just been in the car for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was standing near the lake and just breathing, and all of a sudden I see a black squirrel. I haven't seen a black squirrel since I was 6 years old, and my grandmother took me to Niagara Falls
Oh my goodness.
and pointed out the black squirrels.
So then your grandma was like, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah, she was like, "Hey, I'm glad you're here."
Yeah.
So that was big. So right after I saw the black squirrel, I'm having like, an epiphany and everything, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is crazy. So I see this little boy. So I'm down by the lake, and you're gonna laugh. He's got this bucket. His gift.
Oh, hold on a second, Vicki. Your sound is messed up for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Are you holding the phone a different way, maybe?
Oh.
No.
Sorry about this.
It's okay. It was like just fine, and then all of a sudden you started talking about the boy, and now it's like maybe nobody wants to know about maybe something doesn't want us to know about the boy.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, it sounds like it's getting better.
All right. Well,
There we
Oh
go.
yeah, you're good. Okay.
He's 10 years old.
Okay, keep going.
So he comes up to me. He's got this bucket in his hand, and he goes, "Hi." And I'm like, "Hi." And I'm thinking, is this a real boy?
That's what I was thinking too.
Am I seeing ghosts? And so he said to me, he takes my hand and he says, "Come with me." And I said, "Okay, I'm just going with it because I'm on vacation,
Yeah.
And he says, "Come with me." And I'm like, "Okay." So he takes me and he wants to put the bucket over my head. I told him he couldn't do that. So he takes me to his grandma's house. And his grandma has this porch with like windows. So he walks up the stairs. He has this bucket of water sitting on the porch, like soapy water. And he tells me to get to sit on the chair. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what is he doing? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So his grandmother comes out and she said to me, "Is he bothering you?" And I said, "No." And I just asked her, I said, "Are you a medium?" And she goes, "No, but I'm a spiritualist. And, I live here with him and I take care of him." And I said, "Okay." I'm like, "Well, I'm here to take Lisa Williams' class." And, I just talked to her about my life a little bit. So he instructs me to take my flip-flops off. And then he takes his phone, he puts on the song "Heart of Gold" by Neil Young.
Mm-hmm.
And he proceeds to wash my feet.
Wow, that's so weird.
Yeah. For a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it was like really weird, right? So when he was walking me to the house, he asked me if I was sick. Remember I said I had RSV? I said, yeah, I thought I had a sinus infection. So he washes my feet and then he said, "Let's go get ice cream." He wanted to go get ice cream because there's a couple places to get food there.
Mm-hmm.
And he, I sat up and he was really excited. He goes, "I healed you. I healed you."
Aww.
I know. It was heartwarming. So that was a different experience.
Yeah, really.
But I feel like this little kid like knew what I needed. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so
well, did
that
you
was
feel any better?
I actually did feel better. And then you know what? We took a walk because he wanted to get ice cream. None of the ice cream places were open.
Oh no.
Poor kid. Did all that feet washing. He didn't even get ice cream.
Tough luck, kid.
And,
Yeah.
yeah. And, you know, he's very present. And I mean, he's a psychic kid. So we took a walk around. He kind of showed me around a little bit. And then we were walking down the street and he takes my hand and he starts yelling the lyrics to Lady Gaga, Bad Romance, as we're walking down the street. He's got me walking down the street singing at the top of my lungs.
This kid sounds like the life of the party.
Yeah.
I loved him.
Yeah.
I loved him.
Wearing buckets for hats and washing feet and ice cream and singing. Neil Young. I mean, where can you go wrong? Yeah.
I know. But I mean, talk about a welcome committee.
Yeah, really. They need to give that kid a medal.
Oh, I know. I love him. I went back to my room and I was just crying because I was like, oh my God, like there needs to be more of this in the world.
Just loving each other. And you don't even know.
Even people you don't know. Here, let me wash your feet. Let me serve you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. And then
service to others, right?
Yeah, service to others. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was some of your ghostly experiences in the haunted buildings?
So I stayed in the Angel House, and every night at the same time, I was waking up at 3:00. And it was like I would be sleeping, and then it would be like I would wake up in a startle, you know? And
that's the witching hour. Oh, look at that.
Yes, it is. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, what time is it? I'm like, of course it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So there are a couple things. In my room, right as soon as we got there, I and the other medium were standing in my room putting my suitcases away, and the lights flickered. And I actually took a video of my room very shortly after that, and there was an orb that kind of flew through. There were 2 mirrors in my room, and one of them was round. And when I arrived, the mirror was straight up and down. But during my stay, I noticed that it looked like it had tilted to the side.
Weird.
Yeah, and I didn't touch it. You know what I mean? And then I think by the day I left, it was back to being straight. So I asked, I didn't know who was waking me up. So I asked, and when I see spirit, I normally see spirit in my mind's eye. And when I saw spirit in my mind's eye, it felt like there was a woman who used to take care of the house. And she had an apron on, and she had that kind of Victorian shirt on that comes up around the neck, and they'd wear a brooch with it.
Yeah, like the high collar with the pin. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And she had her hair pulled back in a bun.
Of course.
Yep. And what I felt like she was doing, I didn't feel like she was menacing in any way. I felt like she was curious. And I felt like what was happening is that she was coming into our rooms and looking at us over our beds, just watching us sleep. Like, who are these people?
Oh, kind of creepy. Waking up to a Victorian lady over your bed. I think that might be one of Frost Giant's nightmares, actually. The creepy old Victorian lady standing over your bed.
Yeah. Well, I always thought that, like, any horror movie that has Victorian women in it, pretty scary for me, but
yeah. another thing that happened that was really interesting while I was there is a friend of mine and we were in class all day doing readings and, reading each other. So we all went out to dinner and I was driving because I was the only one with a car. And so there were 4 of us, and the parking lot is at the edge of the forest, like the woods. And it wasn't windy, it was mild, and it was sunny, maybe in the 70s. And I noticed this one tree off to the side of the parking lot, and the branch on the tree was kind of making a circular motion, almost like a spirit was like playing with the tree, or maybe the fairies or elementals were kind of playing with the tree. And I almost felt like there might have been a vortex there.
Wow.
And nothing else was moving except this one branch. And we all took videos of it because it was really weird. And my one friend said that she had a headache. And when we went over near that one tree, she said that the headache went away.
Interesting. I would imagine that because there's been such a long period of time with so many people doing all of these different kinds of things in this place, that it would gather all of this energy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's got to be a buildup of energy. I mean, there's a ton of energy. I've done some research on it, and some people think that there's so much energy at Lilydale because too many people opened up too many portals have been opened.
Yeah, there's so many people practicing things over such a long period of time that there's got to be just crazy stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and it's almost like, and if you stand on the stump, which you're not supposed to do, but you can feel the energy coming up through your body. It feels like you're vibrating. And my first experience when we went into the woods, there was 3 of us. Excuse me. The woman when we got to the clearing where, the pews are and the stump, the woman on my right, I felt this surge of energy shoot up through the bottom of my spine, all the way up my spine. And I had this feeling, I kept feeling like you're home. And I went and I put my hand on the stump, and I almost felt as if I was tearing up. And when I put my hand on the stump, I heard that I had been there before.
Interesting.
Yeah, so maybe in a past life or something.
Yeah. Have you felt or had any more inclinations about what that possibly could be since you've been there?
Actually, as I just said that, another story about the place is when I went in, maybe I astral projected there, I don't know. But when I went to the bathroom during class, this is really weird, but class was in a place called Assembly Hall. It's extremely haunted, especially upstairs. And on the walls of Assembly Hall, they have pictures of all the spiritualists who have come before us. And when I went to the bathroom, I looked around and I was like, OMG, like I've been here before. And I've been there before. I had a dream probably about 2 years ago now. And in the dream, I was in a very old church, and I was in the bathroom in the church. The bathroom in Assembly Hall at Lilydale was the bathroom in my dream.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. When you were telling that story, the whole top of my head was all tingly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty wild.
So you had definitely been there before.
Oh, yeah.
In some kind of capacity.
In some capacity. And I just wonder where we're psychics, so we have dreams all the time of things that are unfamiliar to us.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things where it's like a crapshoot. It's like, okay, well, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you have it, it's like the deja vu. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it could be something to look into if you
Yeah.
want to know more about it.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
You had kind of mentioned this earlier, but I was wondering if that trip and spiritualism, and I know you had said that working with Lisa Williams had changed some things, but how has spiritualism changed your mediumship practices?
It made me, I feel as if I'm closer to spirit now because I accept that it's real.
Mm-hmm.
I think I always knew it was real, but there was that little piece. I mean, obviously, I always knew it was real, but I feel like there's always that little piece of, programming that's in the back of our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay, whatever. That didn't just fall over, or like, whatever. Like, I must be nuts.
Yeah.
Like like doubt. That's just always like a little bit of doubt, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like, am I just making all this shit up? Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what I really feel, I feel like it made me feel more grounded in my connection with spirit. And it also made me feel more trusting.
Like it empowered you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, so empowering. It was very life-changing for me.
That's awesome.
And you were talking earlier too about like the accepting it, and I think kind of for both of you, but you for this experience of like wanting to be open about it or not hiding it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would imagine
coming out of the
would
medium
give
closet.
you more energy. Yeah, the medium closet. Like that would I mean, I think that, well, let me ask, like, does that itself, like being more open about it, does that, for either of you, does that have the, that effect of kind of making you stronger in what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe so. Yeah. Because I feel like with the acceptance of it, it comes more trust and confidence in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And more trust in spirit.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think that, I would imagine that a lot of people who do medium readings and they're kind of taking classes and they start doing it. I imagine there's a lot of people that are doing it kind of, I don't want to say secretly, but just kind of like not really trying to put everything out there.
No, secretly is the right word.
It is.
Yes,
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, owning it.
Like, oh, it's just something I do.
Yeah. And I think owning it, just like anything else, like if you were doing anything kind of in secret, you couldn't put your whole self into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't secretly be a dentist. You have to really be a dentist.
Or like, imagine if just something simple like video games. If you secretly played video games, you probably wouldn't be very good because you'd always be logging out real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly. And it's like that. I mean, that's a great analogy. I mean, it's like that with mediumship too, because it's like, oh, just kidding, I'm not a medium. And then it's like, oh, connection's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I can
got a couple questions from.
Go ahead.
We have a couple of questions from Bree.
Okay.
She's asking, first question, how do you stay grounded in higher energies?
It's hard. So when I ground, what I usually do is I try to imagine, that's actually something we learned in class. What I try to imagine energy running from my heart down my body through my feet. And then up through my higher chakras to, the universal source, everything. So staying grounded, you can put your feet in the grass. I like to do that. Taking showers or baths is great for grounding. Water is incredibly grounding. Being near water or walking near water is grounding for me. And it's different for everybody. I use crystals as well to stay grounded. For me, garnets work really great. And I actually went out recently, within the past couple of months, and I invested in grounding mat.
A grounding mat? Is that what you said?
Yep. There's a place called on the internet called earthing.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the bed, the bed grounding mat thing that you put on your mattress.
Mm.
And I got the little one that you put under your feet. And now when I do readings at home, I sit in my chair with the little grounding mat under my feet.
Can you tell a difference?
I can tell a difference. I can't really explain it, but I can tell a difference. I feel like I sleep better. And I do just feel more grounded overall. And it's supposed to be great for your health too, to have these grounding mats.
Interesting. I might have to look into that.
Yeah. Earthing.com.
Her other question was, how powerful does it feel when you are in the higher energies?
It's funny because I don't ever realize when I'm in it. I'll just be sitting there giving a reading and something will come out of my mouth. And I'll be like, holy smokes, did I really just say that? And it was right. Like something will come out of my mouth. I was doing a reading last week and I said, oh, blah, blah, blah. I was just using someone as an example. And I said, oh, you don't want to, you don't have to go over to Bill's house and mow the lawn every time. And I just used, Bill as an example. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they all started laughing. And I was like, what? And they're like, Bill is someone in my family. And I'm like, oh, I just pulled that out of my hat. Like, I just said Bill, like it just came out of my mouth.
Yeah, but really, it came from somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was using it as an example. So I don't always know. When I'm connected to the higher energies, I do have to say, I feel like it feels a little bit more bliss. Like life feels like it flows a little bit more for me. Because I'm in that state of trust. Yeah. And I need to say this, trust and grounding go together.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Good questions, Bree.
Those were good questions.
Yes. So are you planning another trip to Lilydale yet?
I am. I'm actually planning 2 trips for this summer. So one is to see the Tibetan monks, and that's on the opening weekend in June.
Cool.
And I'm excited about that. I think that'll be really cool. And then the other trip is going to be in August, and I'm going to be staying for a week.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, do you know if the Tibetan monks are going to do any of their sand mandalas?
They do. They build it the first day and they take it down a few days later, and you can take the sand with you.
Awesome. Those are so cool.
I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I feel like just being in the monk's presence will be incredibly healing.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do in August?
In August, my friend is teaching a class. He's a UFOologist.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So he teaches a class there, and so we're gonna go and stay for a week.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just hang out. I mean, every night when we were there, my friends and I would just hang out at the stump or just walk around and just hang out at the dock or whatever. And we would just talk all night.
That sounds magical.
It was magical.
Yeah. Awesome.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right. So anything else pertinent or important that you want to share about spiritualism or Lilydale?
If you go to Lilydale, the first time you should go yourself.
Go by yourself.
Yeah, go by yourself.
I was just getting ready to say, me and Medium. I don't want to ruin any big surprises down the road, but me and Ginny Lee have talked about eventually, not anytime soon, but eventually, maybe trying to do like a retreat or Team Weird, where we could all kind of meet somewhere and go somewhere cool. And,
that would be
sign
really
up for
cool.
that.
That would be the perfect place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that wouldn't be alone. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, that somewhere like that could be kind of cool, just to kind
Yeah.
of go and experience those things together, and just have where everyone can kind of meet up and experience
Yeah.
something like that for sure. So that'll be one place we'll put on the list.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Bree had a
you're married, so I would, I would say you guys can go together because you're married, but I would say that it would be really cool to go as a group trip. I personally want all my friends that I met there to go back for a reunion every year.
yeah. That'd be cool.
Well, if we get something together down the road, and it would be down the road, then we'll definitely let you know too.
Yeah.
Please
can
do.
be,
Show us around.
Yeah.
I was looking
Bree
for
wanted
us.
to
It's
know.
about a 7.5 hour trip, so it's not.
That's
It's
not that much further than it was for you, and you live in the same state.
I know.
Honest. Yeah. Well, I live on the other side.
Yeah.
That's
Fleet.
true.
So it's
Yeah.
really not that. It's really not that bad for us.
No.
Bree wanted to know if you know of any other places that are like Lilydale.
Yes. Actually, there's a place in Florida called Casadega,
Oh yeah.
and Casadega is the sister town to Lilydale. So, if you can get to Florida to Casadega, I don't know a lot about Casadega, but it's the sister town.
Yes.
This kind of reminded me also, to answer that question from Bree. We have a place in Virginia called Yogaville.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And
It is literally in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
we took a couple years ago, it was like summer break, and I was just like, let's go somewhere. And I just like picked a place randomly, and like I took them without telling them where we were going. And it was a really interesting place because it's just like the center of like all kinds of different belief systems. Like there's a lot
they
of
had like
Buddhist stuff there.
a little shrine in their temple for like all the different kind of religions, and
Oh, I love that.
the
There's this,
temple's
like,
shaped like a lotus, and there's like a guy, like a guru guy that had started it, and he's buried like across the hill from the temple, and it's really interesting.
It's kind of
People
up in the mountains
go there
a little
to
bit.
learn how to do yoga. Like
That's so
why it's called
cool.
Yogaville. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'd never even heard of it. I like that.
It's in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, Virginia.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was created like back in like the 60s or 70s, when there was like a lot of the yogis were coming out buying land, doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's stuff around you and you don't even know it's there.
Yeah, you don't even know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go.
I kind of, so there are a lot of UFOs at Lilydale too.
Oh, I imagine so. All that
Ooh.
energy's shooting up into the sky.
Yeah. And so one thing that I thought was kind of interesting, I don't know, I made this connection. Lilydale is close to Jamestown, New York. And Jamestown is where Lucy Ball was from.
Oh, okay.
And Desi Lou Productions produced Star Trek.
I didn't know that.
Weird. Mind blown.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So there's some kind of, Star Trek was rejected by another production company. And Lucy said, yeah, I'm on board. Let's do this. So it makes me, I feel like there's definitely a connection to Jamestown, Dunkirk, that whole area, and it's right in the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which has a lot of UFO activity.
Exactly.
Which does have a lot of UFO activity.
Yeah. It just kind of all went down the same drain.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's very
I was
interesting.
going to ask you, what else is new with you? What have you been up to?
I just finished up my mentorship with Lisa.
Awesome.
And right now, I've just been doing readings, taking a little break being educated because I feel like that's education. What else have I been doing? I've been doing readings locally. I've been doing also been doing energy therapy, which I've been also terribly. And I've just been living life.
So you've been doing a lot of readings, like local readings and on Zoom. Your voice was cutting out again. So you've been doing online readings and local readings, and you're taking a break from learning stuff for a while.
Yeah, just for a little while. Sometimes you need to.
You got to be able to practice all the stuff that you've learned.
And kind of soak it in and let it sit and stew. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you have to integrate.
Yep. So I did share your website earlier. I'm going to share it again. What services can our people get from you that are offered online?
Okay, so I can do mediumship or tarot readings over Zoom.
Oh no!
I think we got her stuck.
Right at the end.
Yes.
She does medium readings and tarot readings.
Mediumship, medium readings and tarot readings. Hopefully get her back to get through there. But we got the website posted there. Vicki's divinelyaligned.com. So make sure you go there, check it out if you're listening to the podcast. That's Vicki's Divinely Aligned, VICKIS. Go check that out. And
I was wanting to know if she does the integrated energy therapy, if that's something she can do over distance. Yeah.
That's.
I hope that she hasn't been talking the whole time, like thinking that Ricky can hear her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Keisha posted from her page there. So currently offers classes in tarot, oracle cards, connecting with angels class series, integrated energy therapy classes.
Yes, manifesting your best life.
So definitely go check it out. Unfortunately, looks like we disconnected.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now that you can see me in both windows.
Fancy. Like dual monitors.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure I can get her back because remember, it wouldn't let me call her back. I wonder if she can hop back in on her own.
Because it's like, the way that it's set up, it's like one chat.
Mm-hmm. I think that she can because she's still in the member list. So we'll give it a couple minutes. And I'll play peekaboo with you in the different windows.
So what do we have coming up? Well, our next show is going to be on the 13th. Can you guys believe it? Like the next time we meet for the witch, almost halfway through April.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Here we go.
I'm sorry, guys.
Hey.
You're fine. You're fine.
You're back.
We're just talking. We're going to go right back to that in a second. I was just talking about on 13th, we're going to have Mark Hunter Brooks back on.
Yes.
And Medium Jenny Lee has read one of his books. So she has more questions.
Hey, look, here it is. Yep. I read it. And I've written lots of things, and I'm going to harass him about all the things in his book.
And we are also going to talk about the Mandela effect. So we'll talk about that some.
Yeah.
And get into that. And then on the 27th, the last show of April, we will have Cheryl Costa on. We will be talking about UFOs.
Speaking of UFOs.
Yeah, specifically, her books have been about like sightings, like where sightings are taking place, like in each state. So what state has most sightings, where in each state these sightings are contained, and kind of working to gather those statistics for ufology. So that's going to be an interesting show. Any UFO guests we can get on, I'm always for. So that's what we have coming up in April.
So Vicki, you were telling us you do your mediumship readings and your tarot readings. What else can you do over the distance?
over the distance, I can also do integrated energy therapy sessions.
You can. See, that's what I was wondering about.
Yes, I can. The energy travels remotely because everything is intention.
Mm-hmm.
So what we usually do is, you schedule an appointment. We have a short conversation on the phone before your appointment. And then I do integrated energy on my little Pooh Bear. And as I'm doing that, you are ideally relaxing, maybe falling asleep on your couch.
Yeah.
And so the energy travels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
And then you also have an angel class. We were snooping around your website.
Oh yeah, I do. I teach about angels. I teach about law of attraction. And I love teaching vision boards. I teach vision boards too. These are all in person. But I do love teaching vision boards. I teach them differently than most people.
Mm-hmm.
So I teach them to so that you can work with manifesting with sacred geometry with your vision board.
Ooh, cool. That's interesting.
Well, and I want to say, since the last time we've had you on, Vicki, that Jenny and Team Weird have had a lot of stuff going on with angels.
We've had a lot more angel interactions.
Yes, whereas I think last time it was like kind of a different thing for us. I had
just seen Michael, and I thought I had seen Gabriel the last time we talked to each other. Mm-hmm. But since then, I've had angels come through from multiple people's readings. I think we might have had Ariel, Uriel.
Yeah.
And then I think we had Michael come through for someone named Michael.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
and I think there was another one too, but we couldn't figure out who it was.
So maybe down the road we can have another angel discussion with you on here.
Yes.
Because I think we have more questions.
More than willing.
I need to know who the different ones are and how I can recognize them. So maybe I just need to take your angel class.
Yeah.
I just need to take your angel class, Vicki.
Yeah. All right. Well, so you know what we can do is, if you want, I can schedule one and we can do it on Zoom.
Yeah, I'll have to schedule something with you.
Yeah, we can do that. If you want, we can do it on Zoom. If you want to do it one-on-one, we can.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do one-on-one, or maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll talk to you. Maybe we can get like a Team Weird. Yeah, because there might be some other people.
Maybe there'll be other people that want a ticket. We can do it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that.
That'd be cool.
That'd be so much fun.
And then maybe we can come on and have you come back on down the road, and we'll do all the weird stuff that we've had come about angels on some of the streams, and talk about that in the meaning of it and all that interesting stuff. Excellent.
Yeah. I love synchronicity.
Yes. It looks like we have one more question before we leave. If you know the answer to this, what do you recommend for talking with ancestors?
Honestly, it's just like talking with any spirit. So for me, I just talk to them. I say, hey, Grandma, can you help me with this?
Yeah.
Or whatever their name is, if you know their name. Mm-hmm. Another thing that's helpful, I believe, for talking with your ancestors is if you have pictures of them.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pictures are very helpful. But also, I'm also getting really strongly to say automatic writing. And say, cool. Grandma, what do you think about this? And this is your question. And then you're just going to write the first thing that comes to you.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent.
All right. Well, we should probably be wrapping it up here. We want to thank Vicki for coming back on.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
All the cool new stuff you have learned and experienced since last we have talked. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on. Everybody's stick around. We'll wrap up the podcast, and then we'll do the Twitch thing for a couple minutes afterwards. So for everyone who came out and for everyone listening, thank you. Thank you, Vicki, and thank you, everyone. Special thanks to Keisha and all the mods tonight for Mod Appreciation.
It's Mod Appreciation Day. And thanks for Alyson for coming on earlier and doing the
extra special thanks to Alyson and the and all the good information about April's moon phase.
Yes.
And we will see you all next time.